Hi everyone, RK here. We'll be doing my brand new book review. I know I haven't done one since A Court of Thorns and Roses, but this one was just so amazing. I felt like I had to. I'm going to be reviewing Marissa Meyer's Heartless. This is a very interesting story which I absolutely devoured. It was so much fun. So first of all, we're going to talk about the cover. Now, as you can tell, this cover is very shimmery, very shiny. It really pops off the shelf. Now, it's got this really, this red here. I don't know if you can see, but it's got this metallic shimmer to it. Sadly, after a few days of reading, I don't know if you can see, but this kind of appeared. Now, I was very disappointed in that because I really want the covers of my books to remain as pristine as possible. Obviously, the spine is going to be, absolutely destroyed from being read so ferociously, but I do want the cover to remain as pristine as possible. So I was very upset when that happened. Like, the hearts are starting to go as well. Now, whether this is because maybe it's just, maybe just a bad batch, or it's just a cheaply made cover, I don't know, but I was very disappointed when this happened. I actually tweeted Waterstones and didn't get a reply, so I was very disappointed in that. The blurb is nice and short, very succinct, just cuts right to the heart of the story, which I really appreciate. I cannot stand blurbs that just go on and on and on and on and on for paragraphs upon paragraphs. So this was very short, just 3 sentences, very succinct, which I really like. Long before Alice fell down the rabbit hole, and before the roses were painted red, the Queen of Hearts was just a girl in love for the first time. That straight away tells me this is a story about the Queen of Hearts before she became the Queen of Hearts. Now, as someone who loves Alice in Wonderland stories and Alice in Wonderland adaptations, I was very excited for this. Whether the previous book was so terrible or whether this one was just really, really good, I cannot tell. But I devoured this within like 3 days. It was phenomenal. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. Centers obviously around the Queen of Hearts before she becomes the Queen of Hearts. She is a lady, a noble woman in the country of Hearts within Wonderland, called Lady Catherine Pinkerton. She's a very interesting main character. She's very headstrong, very determined. She's quite funny in her own way. She is a noble woman whose mother is trying to get her married off to the King of Hearts. But Catherine wants to be a baker. Now, the descriptions of Catherine's baked goods are absolutely phenomenal. They are so vivid, so well described. I was salivating reading some of these, especially the lemon tarts. They were described so beautifully. It made me really hungry when reading it. It was, I don't know if maybe Marissa Meyer is maybe a chef, or maybe she's just really interested in baking as a, just as a hobby, much like how in Game of Thrones George R.R. Martin was previously a chef, so his descriptions of food are very very vivid. Now, the relationship with her mother is, it's quite interesting, especially since just quickly noticing here that this book is actually dedicated to Marissa Meyer's mother. The relationship between Catherine and her mother is very strained. Her mother is constantly nitpicking at her about her weight, her clothes, her hobbies, her looks. Everything that she does is she wants her to get the attention of the king, married off to the king. Catherine is obviously a very beautiful woman. She's always described as very, she catches the eye of everyone in the kingdom, especially the king. The king has already expressed interest in courting her. The story itself has a very nice pace, just trundles along very nicely. The romance is not icky, it's very nicely done. There are a few kind of moments, but not enough to make me want to stop reading. Jest, who is the love interest, is the court joker. He appears at the start of the novel, kind of like literally just appearing out of nowhere in the ball at the start of the novel. And Catherine immediately thinks, oh, I'm not that interested. I don't want a love interest. I want to open this bakery with my friend. But over the course of the novel, it's not immediately love at first sight, which I really like. It's they do genuinely fall in love with each other, and it's very sweet. Ironically, for someone who bakes sweet goods, the King of Hearts. He's a very ineffectual king. He's quite feckless and immature and giggly and a little bit feminine. I don't know if that was intentional, but I did get kind of strong like campness about him. But it just kind of makes it more interesting for when she does become the Queen of Hearts at the end. Spoilers, sorry. Catherine does have the control over him, much like in the original novel, or especially the Disney adaptation, where we see the King of Hearts is kind of a small, meek little man, and just agrees to the whims of the Queen. Overall, I would thoroughly recommend this. Fans of stories about Alice in Wonderland, especially fans of the Jabberwocky. There is a very unique twist on the Jabberwocky story. Kind of easy to guess from the first couple of chapters, but you don't really get affirmation of your guesses until the end of the novel. But it is very interesting. There's enough going on to keep you entertained. Wonderland is very I don't want to say it is mad. It's not as mad as you would think, but there are hints of the uniqueness that Alice will encounter during Alice in Wonderland. You learn how the mock turtle becomes a mock turtle. There is the Griffin, the Hatter, all of the original characters that we've grown up with and that we love are there and presented very well written. The mock turtle. I got a very distinct sense of body horror from that. I'm going to go into spoiler territory, by the way, so just switch off if you want to. But the mock turtle actually does start off as a turtle, and then from eating a cursed pumpkin tart actually turns into a mock turtle. And the description of that is so intensely visceral. It's a little bit disturbing. Just how heartbreaking it is. But it did make me feel a little bit uncomfortable when reading it. But again, I still wanted to continue because I wanted to know what happened. Overall, it is absolutely incredible. I would thoroughly recommend this. My next one, I think, is going to be another Queen of Hearts story. I'd love to see how they compare to one another. This is actually the third Alice adaptation that I've read in 2017. The first one being Alice stroke Red Queen, because I kind of read them one after the other. Then I read After Alice, which was godly boring. That I do not recommend that to anyone. It was awful. And then this one, which was quite possibly one of my favourite of the three. Like I said, I have Queen of Hearts next, which focuses on Princess Dinah, which is going to be very interesting. But overall, my hopes are not set very high because this one has just completely ruined me for any Alice adaptations. This one is hands down by far the best Alice adaptation that I've ever read so far, because I've got another one in the pipeline that I want to read. Actually, I've got two in the pipeline that I want to read, so that's going to be interesting. So yeah, Heartless by Marissa Meyer. 10 out of 10.